The COVID-19 vaccine came out nearly 11 months ago, yet here we are on day 593 of the global pandemic. We have some things to talk about. What is up, guys? Namo Himalaya. Stefan Peel here. I'm a communications scholar, media literacy advocate, and law of attraction practitioner, and today I'm going to talk about a subject that has gotten weirdly controversial and divisive, so I ask that you please keep your beautifully open mind open, especially if you had a strong reaction to this title. Thank you in advance. Now, I thought a lot about what I could talk about in this video and how best to approach it. I could talk about how the Supreme Court upheld in 1905 Jacobson v. Massachusetts that the state has the right to enforce compulsory vaccination for the greater good. How disrespectful the comparison of mask mandates to actual oppression and the literal Holocaust are, and how ridiculous these freedom protests are when there are real issues and injustices in the world. How we've been down this road before with mask slackers in the 1918 flu epidemic. We could talk about how the anti-vax movement is rooted in ableism and how there's no correlation with autism, let alone causation, and that the doctor who originally asserted that has since been discredited. Or about how if you've gone to school in the States, you probably already have had all of these other vaccines. I could link you to helpful, legitimate resources, but trust in institutions is at an all-time low. We could go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy, but we'd all probably end up more confused and angrier. Though I will say injectable nano-tracking technology doesn't exist, and if the government wanted to track you, they'd just ping your cell phone. That's literally the plot of the early 2000s Charlie's Angels. And while this all gives us a lot of interesting things to talk about, I'm not going to talk about any of that. We're going to talk about collective responsibility and compassion. Anti-vaxxers, and those who pretend to be anti-vaxxers and perpetuate misinformation for personal gain, like to present the vaccine and masking requirements as individual liberty issues. But the pandemic is not something we can fight individually. It is an airborne viral infection spreading from human to human across the globe. Now you may be thinking, I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm spiritually aligned, why bother getting the vaccine? And you may very well be fine. But if you care about other people, then it's important to get vaccinated. Unless we reach herd immunity, the virus will continue to spread, with the biggest brunt of that falling on those in low-income communities, Black and brown communities, and people who are unable to get the vaccine for health reasons. Even if we reach herd immunity in wealthy developed countries, it can continue to spread and mutate in poor developing countries that don't yet have access to the vaccine. That's why we hear about these new variants that crop up, like the Delta variant. If we allow this spread to continue to happen both here and abroad, it could very well reach a point in which COVID mutates into a new variant that we have no vaccine and no treatment for. So that to me is the collective responsibility. Where compassion comes in, I hope is obvious. People are suffering. Our medical systems are stretched thin, and healthcare workers are running themselves ragged trying to keep up with demand. COVID patients are overwhelming ICU beds and preventing other patients from receiving the care they need. Even if there are enough physical resources, there just aren't enough healthcare workers to keep up. I haven't yet been able to get the ankle surgery that I need or get top surgery, and those dates continue to get pushed out as this goes on. Thankfully, I'm fortunate to still be in good health, but others aren't so lucky. Heart attacks, strokes, car crashes, gun violence, none of these things stopped happening during the pandemic. Could you imagine going to the hospital in need and being turned away? Because that's a reality we could be headed towards. There are people who don't realize COVID is real until they themselves become COVID patients. They finally want the vaccine, but it's too late for it to be of any benefit to them. It is okay to be unsure. It's okay to be a little scared. It's okay to ask questions. Please ask questions. But ask them of people who can give you real answers. Just like when you're trying to achieve something, you model proven success. When you're trying to understand something complex, you defer to expertise. Do we create our own reality and have the power to heal ourselves? Yes. But unless you're insanely powerful, you can't just decide gravity doesn't fit into your worldview and start to float. There are certain constraints in this three-dimensional reality that we all play within during our human experience. Love and light alone can't save the starving children. They need real physical food to eat. So don't think you're above needing the vaccine because you're a spiritual person and that alone will protect you. It reminds me of that story, The Drowning Man. In it, they begin evacuating this town before this massive flood. The The last car pulling out sees a man standing in front of his house and offers him a ride out of town. "No, that's all right," the man says. "My God will save me." So the car goes on. The flood comes, the water rises up and up, until eventually the man must seek refuge on the rooftop. Two men come to his aid in a rowboat. "Get in." "No thanks, my God will save me." So the boat went on. Then a helicopter comes and the pilot offers to drop a rope and lift the man to safety. Again, he refuses, insisting that his God will save him. So the helicopter leaves and the man drowns. When the man gets to heaven, he's pissed and he confronts God about letting him die, to which God replies, "I sent you a car and a boat and a helicopter. What more did you want?" The vaccine is our evacuation car, our lifeboat, our rescue helicopter out of the pandemic. I'm triple vaccinated and I'm more than fine. Still out here thriving. And I would love for you to join me. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or to make some moral judgment against you if you haven't been vaccinated yet. I'm telling you all of this because I care for you, and I really, really don't want you to miss the boat. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. Felt very compelled to speak on this, so I really appreciate you hearing me out. I know this one's a little heavier than some of my other videos, but when we're talking about culture and society and things like that, things can get a little heavy. And there is a lot going on in the world right now. But since we know positivity and negativity must always be in balance, then we know there's a hell of a lot of good things going on out there as well. So let's keep our focus on that. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Since this is a topic people tend to feel strongly about, just remember to please keep it respectful with each other and make your points in good faith. Whenever you're interacting on the internet, there is always another whole ass human being and their feelings on the other side of the screen. So that's always good to keep in mind. Thanks again for your time. Appreciate you checking it out. Much love to you.